It is said that in olden days, when one knight wished to engage in a duel with another knight, he would throw down a gauntlet before his opponent, and the opposing knight would be honor-bound to take up the gauntlet, or risk shame and humiliation for refusing. And now, with this garden gauntlet, I hereby issue such a challenge to Mr. Sensible on the topic of the moon landing, for I know that he believes that we actually went to the moon. The gauntlet has been dropped. Here are the terms, Mr. Sensible. I value my relationship with you, and I want to keep this honorable. As such, in this debate, the only person I am here to persuade is you. If anyone else happens to be persuaded in the meantime, that is a bonus. But you are the primary objective. With that being the case, I cannot persuade you without establishing common ground with you. So my primary objective is to persuade you using your own words and beliefs. When we are both able to acknowledge common ground, not only is that good for building relationships, it is also a sign of strength, integrity, and nobility. That is the kind of debate I want to have with you. Can you try and persuade me using those same methods? If you choose to accept, I expect this to be the most epic debate you've ever had in your life. I'll go ahead and begin and show you how this is done. To believe that the moon landing actually happened, do you agree that it is a huge exhibit of trust in the United States government? Based on the British flags on your rover there, I take it you're not from the United States. If that is the case, I've got to say I think it is really peculiar how by trusting in the moon landing, you appear to trust in the United States government far more than I do. And I'm a United States citizen, and U.S. Army veteran no less. With that being the case, I've got to ask, why do you trust the U.S. government so much concerning claims they made during the Nixon era? Allow me to share with you something Professor Dave once said concerning President Nixon.
Professor Dave again, let's talk about Richard Nixon.
He knows a lot about all kinds of stuff. Professor Dave explains.
Richard Milhous Nixon may have been the most temperamentally unsuited man ever elected to the presidency. Uneasy in social situations and resentful of slights both real and imagined, his paranoid nature and vindictive personality would ultimately be his downfall. In the end, the man elected on a law and order platform with the insistent claim, "I am not a crook," was the greatest lawbreaker ever to sit in the Oval Office. As his successor, Ford pardoned him in order to spare the country from more of its long national nightmare, and Nixon spent the rest of his life trying to rehabilitate his image by writing books on foreign policy. But in his paranoia, he had even bugged the Oval Office, and when those tapes were made public, they condemned him for all time, revealing Nixon to be a petty thug who pursued vendettas like a mafia don.
With that, I have to ask, do you agree with Professor Dave here? That doesn't sound like a very trustworthy guy. Yet you trust the US government under his reign? For a man who is not very religious, who even cusses out pastors, you sure seem to have a lot of faith in President Nixon over here, making me wonder just what he did to deserve so much of your trust. Let's face it, the moon landing itself is simply just one big "trust me bro" statement. There is a reason why MCToon's best arguments in his debate against Alex Stein on the matter were, "I met an astronaut," and "Oh, but we have tons of pictures from the moon landing." I hope you'll agree with me that that is like saying, "Oh, but I met the Terminator, therefore the movie The Terminator was real."
I'll be back. 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 I'll be back.
If you lived in Joseph Smith's day, and he were to walk up to you and look you in the eye and tell you that he saw God the Father and his Son Jesus Christ, would that be enough to convince you that he actually did? Extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof? And please answer me this. Do you agree with me that there is no finish line in the amount of footage that determines whether or not something actually took place? There is no certificate that says, "Congratulations, this is your 5,000th picture," or whatever number. That means your content qualifies as being valid, authentic, and real. It doesn't work like that. No amount of pictures of Cookie Monster will ever make him more than a puppet. Now please notice I have a second garden gauntlet here. This one's for you, MCToon. This is your chance to redeem yourself. If you have a better argument to make, let's hear it. You can't accuse me of interrupting you when your entire response is made on your own channel. Do you think you could persuade me through finding common ground with me? When the government making the claim has been proven to be dishonest and untrustworthy time and time again, with things like MKUltra and Operation Sea Spray, where the US government was testing biological weapons on the people of San Francisco without their knowledge or consent. When an untrustworthy source like this claims, "Trust me, bro," I hope you will agree with me that it doesn't carry much weight. So I've got to ask, why do you put so much trust in them? Now, I will say that I am aware of the genetic fallacy, which states just because an organization has a history of being dishonest, that doesn't mean they are incapable of saying something that is true. So I'm not saying them being untrustworthy makes them wrong. What I am saying is extraordinary claims require extraordinary proof. But here, I am not seeing any. All I am seeing is a plea to believe in an untrustworthy source without merit, or without a substantial reason why I should believe in them. All they have is "Trust me, bro." As such, I ask you to please reconsider your stance on the moon landing, and be open to the thought that it is one big government deception. With that, I tip my hat to both of you and value my relationship with you. The ball is now in your court and I await your responses. Thank you all for watching. This video has been brought to you by the Flat Earth Institute of Science, with a special thank you to White Sand for composing music to this video. We miss you, Rob Skiba. May your memory live on forever.